You know those times in your life when it feels like you can barely see 2 feet in front of you? When everything that you thought was certain begins to unravel and the ground beneath you becomes unsteady? When it feels like you're swimming adrift in a sea of doubt? When clarity turns into confusion? This is what I call the sacred darkness. I call it sacred because this void space or in-between space is actually incredibly ripe for deep and profound transformation, if we allow it. These are the moments where we are being asked to surrender our will for divine will, where we are being asked to fully let go of control so that we can be shaped and molded into a greater version of ourselves. If you're in this season right now, as you watch this video, know that you are exactly where you need to be, and all of your desires and so much more, may they become manifest as you let go into this journey, into this process. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing what the dark night is and why it's important for your healing and awakening process. I'm going to share how to really truly navigate uncertainty and the unknown without losing yourself, what I discovered in a 5-day darkroom experience, and lastly, how to truly let go of control so that more and greater strength, peace, and clarity can set in. And of course, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and drop a comment below. Let's get started. All of us since a very young age have been deeply conditioned to reject, to suppress, and avoid the darkness within us and around us. We are taught to cling to what we know, to the comfortable, to the known, to the people, the places, all of the things. But this is because we have built up this illusion of control that if we are to stay in this place or continue to do this thing, then we will somehow be safe and secure. But all of this is just an illusion, because there is one thing that life can guarantee us, and that is change. And that change can happen on a dime, or it can happen over time. But regardless, that change is going to come. But the more that we grip on to life, the more we create resistance and constriction within ourselves. And we avoid what we don't know. And this over time creates a very dull and monotonous life experience. A life experience which is sort of just complacent and mediocre. But there are times where the universe will step in, where God will sit down face to face with you and give you an opportunity to go beyond the threshold of what you know. And sometimes that comes through a job loss, a breakup, an accident, some form of catalyst. At other times, it could be quite subtle. You know, some things are taken away from your life, and you need to sit within whatever you've been holding on to within yourself, and to sit in the darkness with yourself. And some people call this time the dark night of the soul. But really, it's almost like the dark night of the ego, because the ego is the command center, the control center that wants to always be in control, wants to know the answers, wants to know that things are going to work out according to your thoughts and your mind. But the reality is things don't work out that way. We live in an incredibly unknown universe. However, really, it comes down to our duty to get comfortable and to come into a deep level of acceptance of the changing nature of life. This does not mean to get blown by the wind like a leaf blowing in the air. There is a firmness, a groundedness, a steadiness, but there is also this ability to flow and this ability to move with the river of life, because spirit is deeply intelligent and is always leading you to where you need to be. It understands, it knows intrinsically your destiny, your dharma, your purpose here on earth. Yet we must allow life to do life and to let go into this space, this void space, because this is where true transformation begins, where we can fully confront all of ourselves, to accept and love ourselves so fully and wholly and completely. And when we can begin to do that, when all the miracles, all the magic, all the gifts, all the blessings, all the abundance begins to pour into our lives. I want to share a little story about this, a story that was deeply profound, this experience that I had in my life back in 2022. Now, being on this journey of self-discovery for quite some time now, I've gone through many of these periods where it seems like nothing is happening, or, I'm just in this sort of like apathetic, numb, neutral type of place. There's been moments in my life where I didn't want to live anymore, where I've stated that out loud, that I don't want to be here right now. These dark, depressing times. And it takes me back to one time in particular in 2022. And I went through about a 3-week period of just feeling extremely overwhelmed, extremely depressed, and not really feeling fully myself. And this experience brought me into the dungeons of my own consciousness, of my own mind. And I had to face a lot of things in these moments. And I knew that I needed to do something beside what I normally do, and sort of ride these waves out. And knowing that it ultimately would come onto the other side and I would be in another state of being. But when you're in it, it's extremely difficult. But I intuitively got this nudge, and there was a lot of synchronicities around me at this time where I was hearing some podcasts, hearing some people talk about their experience going into a dark room. And for those of you that don't know or have heard of this experience, dark room experience is essentially going into a room that is completely void of light. And these are becoming like well-known retreats. People are doing these retreats now. And I found a place here in Mexico where I live that does these retreats. And essentially it was like this cave. It was pretty much sensory deprivation. And I went into this experience with, at this time I was really going through a lot, but really going into this experience with no expectations, no attachments, but to really face off with all of myself fully. Because once you're in that room, you are in complete darkness. You are in the womb of creation, and you have no option but to sit there and to sit with yourself. And so this was no distractions, no external, output, just full silence, which was actually quite deafening. And my mind was in complete resistance for the first couple days. I was in a lot of deep resistance, and the kind of the mind fuck is that you can open the door at any time and you can just completely walk out. And my ego told me the first is, you just get out of here. You've done what you need to do. You've proved yourself. Now it's time to get out of here. And I was like, no, I'm not listening to this voice, even though part of me wanted to leave. But I had to really tune into my spirit and know that I committed myself, devoted myself to this time, and I was going to sit here. Well, by day 3 and 4, things began to become very interesting. Because of the darkness and the complete void of light, my melatonin levels secreted so much that began to produce DMT in my third eye. And I began to go through this visual experience where even as I breathed, I was seeing the light particles move up and down my spine, carried by the cerebral spinal fluid. Began to see my genetic code, my DNA become lit up. And I was starting to see the extra dimensional reality that was always around me, but because of this experience allowed me to tap into it. And has also faced off with a lot of the deeper parts of wounding, the rejection, the abandonment, the unworthiness, the insecurity, the inadequacy, all of these things that I felt, that I experienced within myself. And I cried, I surrendered, I listened deeply. And in that experience, which was quite profound, as you can probably sense, there came to a point where I just completely let go into the divine making of life, to the mystery of life. And in this moment, I realized that by surrendering deeply, it is not giving up. Surrender is a completely different process. It's giving in and allowing divine will to take over. And from that place, being guided, listening deeply to the whispers of spirit, and then following those whispers to fully emerge and take inspired action, to live your vocation and so forth. But to circle back, this experience really opened me up and allowed me to see life from a whole nother perspective, and that the unknown, the uncertainty isn't as scary as we make it out to be. It's actually quite beautiful. And this process, if you're in it right now, if you're in a moment where things feel extremely unclear, directionless, you feel empty, lost, know that this is a moment to really awaken your soul. And this is about deepening into a great level of trust, a trust in life, a trust in spirit, a trust in self, knowing that you are divinely guided and led in every single moment of your life. That God, that great spirit has your back always. And why don't we take a moment now to breathe into that, to breathe into this calm, relaxed, trusting, knowing state of being. And so just closing your eyes if you feel the call, planting your feet firmly on the floor beneath you. And tuning in with your inner world in this very moment. What do you feel? What do you sense? Just being with whatever is here for you in this now moment. If there's some anxiety, some resistance, some tension, some fear, be with that. If there's an openness, allowance, a lightheartedness, trust that. Whatever it is, be with it. We're going to take some time to really breathe into the unknown, trusting in it, surrendering into it, being with it fully. So exhale out all the air. Take a deep breath in, all the way up, and let it out the mouth. Do that again, breathing all the way up. Breathing all the way out. I'm going to breathe in that presence. Breathe out that control. Breathe in that trust. Breathe out that resistance. Breathe in that peace. Breathe out that chaos. Just fully flowing with the breath. Just deepening this breath into the navel, into the belly, fully moving with its rhythm. And knowing that in this moment and all moments, you are guided, you are held, you are loved. Even when it seems that everything around you is falling apart, you are always guided. And as you breathe, I want you to feel and breathe these words in. It is safe to surrender. It is safe to surrender. It is safe to let go. It is safe to let go. I am held. I am guided. I am free to be fully me. I am free to be fully me. I release all expectations, all attachments, all fear, all control in this now moment. I claim my power. I claim my truth. I claim my birthright of prosperity, of abundance, of freedom in this now moment. Breathe that in. Feel that fully. And we'll take a few more deep inhalations and exhalations. And then we'll come back into our natural rhythm. And just begin to notice the state change. The internal change. And when you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes. I'm just giving thanks and gratitude for this present moment. No matter what you're navigating or going through, just giving thanks to whatever's presenting itself. And the more we give thanks into that, the more we receive the clarity, the answers. Knowing that everything is so perfectly, divinely orchestrated for your highest good in every single moment. There is nothing out of place. All is well in this benevolent universe. Life is happening for you. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate you for being here, for following along, for being a part of this journey. And if you'd like to go deeper, there are many ways to do so. On a very simple note, you can download the Beats and Breath app, which is my signature breathwork app, in which we have over 100 breathwork journeys for all different themes and intentions to bring some stillness, some connection, some clarity into your life. Also have the Self Mastery Collective, which is a membership community to go deeper into these teachings and so much more. And if you'd like, of course, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, continue to follow along this journey here on YouTube. And until next time, sending you many blessings, peace, and prosperity. Take care.